Okay, I had to fix my camera. Hello. Hey, Ben, how are you doing this morning? Fixing my bangs here. Good morning. We are about to start soul sessions. Hello, everybody. Hey, Diana, how are you doing? Diana, I need to call you this weekend. I'm going to message you after this. Hey, oh, that's so sweet. Hello, sunshine. I love you so much. I'm going to message you when we get done here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Soul Sessions today. I'm going to add my friend in here. Let's see. Hey, Maisie. Okay, let's see if we can get her in here. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Depending on. Hey,
Hey, we both had drinks in our hands.
I know. Synchronization there. Okay,
Yes.
I gotta back my. I always have to readjust my chair. Okay, there we go. Okay, good morning. We are here with my friend Maisie. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm going to introduce you to everybody. This is my friend Maisie. She is a yoga instructor and she's an intuitive artist.
Thank
Yes.
you so much for having me here.
Yes, I'm very excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So, excuse me. My name is Maisie. I am a yoga teacher. I just got certified in April, but it is my passion. It is everything. I feel like I'm a yogi above all things. I'm a mom and I'm an artist.
Love, love, love. I love the background that you have
Oh,
going
yeah.
on right now too. Did you
So
create all of that?
yes, yes. You definitely can't see all of it, but yes, I did.
I love how it's including all of the chakra colors.
Oh
Just all of them.
yeah, definitely. I
Yes.
love the colors. I love the shapes, all that good stuff.
Yes. Well, I'll tell everybody how Maisie and I became friends. We are newer friends. So I found Maisie on TikTok, or you found me. I'm not sure how that happened. But we started having a conversation and we did a get to know you call. And then I went on Maisie's Instagram and I was like, oh, we live pretty close to one another. I said, do you want to meet up? And then we met and then our friendship took off from there.
Yes, and those soul sessions that you do, like just talking to people one on one, that is such a good idea. Like I love that idea. That's such a great way just to like meet people and make new friends. That's genius. So I'm really glad we
Thank
did that.
you. I just really love getting to know people and hearing their stories. And then I always learn something from them. Like with you, like I don't know a whole lot about yoga. And so I'm sure I'm going to learn a ton today. And even right before this, Maisie and I was talking, she was helping me with breath work, which sometimes I really need to help me ground. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, of course.
Yes. Diana is in here too. She said, I love that. Thank you, Diana. Um, and thank you everyone for all the likes. It's very sweet. So Maisie and I have a lot of fun topics to talk about today. Um, Maisie, everybody can find you at Yoga by Maisie on Instagram and TikTok. Is that right?
Yoga with Maisie. I changed
Yoga with
it
Maisie.
to
Why did I
with.
put by Yoga with Maisie? Okay, Yoga
It
with
it
Maisie.
used to be bi, but then I was like, I didn't create the yoga. I'm just you're doing it with me. So I changed it.
Okay. So yoga with Maisie.
Yes.
Perfect. So the first thing we want to talk about is self-love and self-care. I think everybody, including you and I, can do more of that. And so I was going to ask you, what does your self-care and your self-love journey look like, and why do you think it's so important?
Wow, I think, oh my God, self-love is so important because it all starts with you. I think like in the past I was like, oh, I want to save the planet and I want to save the world and I want to do all these things, but it's like on the side it's like I had addiction issues. I was just eating really horrible food. It's like just not taking care of myself. It's like how am I ever going to give back to anyone when it's like I'm running on E all the time, just not taking care of myself. So I think we said this once. just like in a conversation we were having, that in taking care of yourself, you are also taking care of the planets and the earth and all the beings that inhabit it. So it all truly starts with yourself.
I think that's beautiful. And you know, when you said that to me, that taking care of ourselves is taking care of the planet, that's stuck in my mind like forever.
Right.
And it's so true. The better we take care of ourselves, that like reverberates out into the collective. We take better care of plants and animals because we feel better. We have better conversations with people, and then they're a little more healed, and it's just very cyclical.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I used to not take care of myself well. I used to put everybody else's needs above mine because I thought that was, being a good quote unquote servant. But we're not meant to serve everybody else if we're not serving ourselves, because we're pouring from an empty cup. And so one day I was like, you know what? I have to make sure and take care of me so that I can take care of other people. And so it was a big dream of mine to be a psychologist or just like help as many people as I can. And I was like, why is this not working? And my guides are like, how are you going to pour from an empty cup? Like, your lesson right now, your karmic lesson is take care of yourself, and then you can start helping other people. So you said you feel like that was your same journey?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I grew up in kind of a shaky situation. So self-love wasn't really like a priority. So it's like whenever I started the spiritual journey, I was like, wow, it really all is like an internal thing. So it's like I need to be able just to take care of myself. And in taking care of myself, it's like I'm able to give back and I'm able to like share what I have learned on the self-love journey. And we are also like the only people we're ever going to live with our whole life. People are constantly going to be coming and going because that's just the circle of life. But it's like we're always here. We're always the ones that we're with all the time.
That's so beautiful. I like you have to build a relationship with yourself and
Yeah.
fall in love with yourself and take care of yourself, because like you said, at the end of the day, like, we have kids, we have spouses, we have friends, but you have you. And there's an analogy that someone said to me one time, and it's a little spooky, but if a plane is going down, you have to put on your oxygen mask first so you can help other people. And
Yes.
that always just really resonated with me, like even with my son, like to be able to fully care and take care of him, I have to take care of myself first so I can be fully present.
Yeah. And I think when I was growing up, I was kind of taught that your kids come first, even though that was kind of
Hmm.
opposite to the living situation, but that's what I was always told. And it's like if you're doing that, you're also showing your kids to not put themselves first and to put other people first. So it's like in taking care of yourself and showing yourself love, you show, if you have kids, you're showing them that they come first as well.
That is so beautiful. Like, be the example for them. Are you
Yeah.
okay talking about being a mom as well?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Maisie and I share that we're both, moms. We're single moms. If you're, hopefully that
Yes.
wasn't too much
Yes, of course.
information. Okay.
No.
Okay. So I feel like sometimes moms, like you said, have a lot of pressure and that they have to endure, and that they have to just deal with everything and then not ask for support and do a lot of like, just, I have to take care of things myself, right? Because we have to be strong and we have to do all these things, but we need support just as much as everybody else. And parenting can be a lot sometimes. It definitely can. So if you're a parent, self-love and self-care is the utmost importance. Especially if you're taking care of a whole nother person, a whole nother like entity, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I heard, well, actually, my mentor told me this analogy about yoga. But as we're talking about this, I'm realizing it applies to this as well. It's like you're dating yourself. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like, after you're dating yourself for a while, you marry yourself. And, like, anyone who's married, I feel like says that marriage isn't always easy. But the people that have been together for years, they say it's always worth it. So it's like even on the days you don't want to show yourself self-love and taking care of yourself, you do it anyways because it's worth it.
I absolutely love that. Someone said Diana said we forget to love ourselves the way we share love with others. That's absolutely
Yes.
right. That's absolutely right. Maisie, do you feel like when you started like really taking care of yourself and loving yourself, that your outer reality started to change? Like the people around you or like the experiences, do you feel like there was a shift?
Yes, most definitely. I feel like just the environment I grew up in, it always seems like negative, quote unquote, things were like happening to me. And then it's like when I took control and I made the decision that like I'm worth the self-love, it's like other people started coming to me and be like, "Oh, I love your energy. You have such a, great thing going on." And it's like I never had really gotten that before. And it's like because they were seeing love within myself that was reflecting outwards.
I love that. It's like you draw a whole different set of people in because you draw people in that love themselves too. And then they see
Yes.
you loving yourself and you just constantly mirror that back to one another instead of that, maybe negativity if you're thinking about yourself, negativity or talking down to yourself, that's what you draw in. So if you're like, I love myself and I love expressing myself authentically and people love me for that, you draw people in that are like that too.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
It's wild how the universe works that way.
The universal algorithm. It's something I've
Yes.
been really diving into. Hey, Andrea. Andrea was able to join in too. So hello, good morning. um, so something that you have said to me recently that also stuck with me is love is the answer. And
Yes,
so I was wondering if you could
absolutely.
explain that a little bit more.
So I'm realizing I keep going back to like my childhood, but I feel like it's very important. So, um, yeah, basically, I grew up in an abusive household and I was a very angry child. I was a really angry child. I grew up and I got with my daughter's dad when I was really young, and we had kind of like an angry relationship. And it just felt like my whole life I was living in like a state of fear or anger or resentment. And then I had an experience, kind of like an awakening experience. And that's when I realized that unconditional love and unconditional acceptance, it exists within every single one of us. And I felt like the first time I experienced like unconditional love, it was within myself. And I was like, wow, like to choose love is to choosing to take back your power. It love love is everything. And my therapist told me once that everything can be broken down into love or fear. So if I had to choose between love or fear, love is always the answer.
That is so beautiful. And now, as I go throughout my life, I'm gonna hear Macy in the back of my mind when I'm like making decisions and saying like, am I gonna choose love? Am I gonna choose fear? Because it really can be broken down that way. And those
Yes.
are two like big things, but they can really anything you do really can be put under those two categories.
Yeah. Even like some people would say like no, the opposite of love is hate, but then when you look at hate, a lot of times it's like fear that someone else is better than us or fear
Mhm.
that we're not good enough. And it just disguises itself as this word called hate when it technically is just fear.
I love that because a lot of times I tell people when they're trying to process their emotions that sometimes you have primary emotions and then you have secondary emotions. So like
Mm,
anger is a secondary emotion because underneath anger is sadness. And so a lot of times, right? And so not
hmm.
every time, but um and that makes sense with like how hate is maybe a secondary emotion, but under that is the fear.
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. I love
And
that
I
as
love that
well.
you said I love that you said that choosing love is also taking your power back
Yeah.
because I grew up in a very tumultuous childhood. I had like a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of like anxiety and depression, uh, all the way up until like an adult. From those things, it really shapes your perception of the world and how you interact with people and just different things. I was also in a emotionally abusive relationship and I was giving so much of my power to that and saying like all those things did happen to me. Like that's not invalidating or all the things that happened to you. But I kept on running those narratives of all of these things happened to me. This, like, I don't have any control over that. Right. And then when I said, you know what, I am going to find solace and peace within myself. And I'm going to give, those people and myself forgiveness for all of those things. And it was like a weight was lifted off. And it's not invalidating saying these things didn't happen. But if you're holding a lot of resentment or hate in your heart, it's heavy. And when you choose love and say, I'm going to love myself regardless, it replaces and it gives you that power back.
Yes, and love will always overshadow fear and hate. It always will. Love is contagious.
Absolutely. It really is. Okay, Macy, I also want to talk about your journey as a yoga teacher and how you got started and what drew you in to go down that modality. Someone said, yes, prescription, flip it, it's a choice. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So, whenever I talk about my journey, it's a little tricky because I feel like I had a very what am I trying to say? I had a spiritual experience, and sometimes trying to put words to these experiences, it kind of takes away from what it actually meant at the moment or in the moment. So basically, I was living my whole life just like in a state of suffering, in a state of fear. And I was just sitting by myself outside one night, and it was like midnight, and I was just in another state of suffering, just very like, why do all these things keep happening to me kind of mindset. And this is the part where it's like, it's a little tricky for me to even put it into words. I know Eckhart Tolle kind of talks about it in the beginning of The Power of Now, and he says it like very beautifully. But in this state of suffering, it's like I let go or I surrendered to something that was within me. Um, yeah, I think surrendering is a good word. And that's
Mhm.
when I kind of experienced like this unconditional love in a sense. And I was just completely like blown away. I couldn't even describe what was happening. um, but out of nowhere, I was like, you know what? I think I need to start meditating. I have never meditated in my life, but I think I need to like sit with myself and meditate. And so I was meditating. I was having very intense meditation sessions.
Mhm.
And this was going on for a few weeks. And then out of nowhere, I was like, you know what? I think I need to start taking care of my body. I think I want to try to do some yoga. And this was when yoga was just like exercise in my
Mhm.
mind. So I started doing yoga. And then I was working at a corporate job that I just didn't like. And I had like money saved up, and I was like, you know what? I'm really getting the urge to just like leave my job and to do something else. I really thought I was just going to do art full time. So
Mhm.
I quit my job and I was like, okay, I'm just going to like sit on my savings and see where this takes me. And then I was like, you know what? I like yoga. Like I do yoga like a few times a week. I think I could totally teach this. Like that would be a lot of fun. So I was like searching for a mentor, and when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I found my teacher, and that is when I learned that like yoga is so much more than a exercise. It is a spiritual practice, and I had already been doing yoga without even realizing I was doing yoga. And I have fallen in love with it ever since.
I love that. And so it sounds like you really love your mentor as well and your teacher.
She's amazing. She has taught me so much. This whole past year, I really feel like I've been in like a state of like deep study,
Mhm.
and I've learned so much from her. I'm really grateful that I met her.
Do you feel like it had kind of like ripple effects out into the rest of your spiritual practice, like you said, not just the yoga, but like bringing you awareness of like other things as well?
Uh, yeah, most definitely. I think I
Yeah.
could say that. Um, in a sense, yoga found me. It's like I didn't really like go and search for it. It really came to me. It found me. And I know a
Oh,
lot of people that do like spiritual modalities and stuff. They all say the same thing, which is really beautiful because it does. It just like this stuff just finds us.
it is funny how it works out like that. It's like I when people ask me about like the Akashic records or Reiki, I'm like, it just came my way.
Yeah.
It just found me and then I just followed it. But I think that's great, like in a testament to when something comes your way and it fuels your passion and it's something that you really love, like the importance of seeing that through and like seeing where it takes you because you never know like on the other end of that where you might be. And like even with you now, like you're like, hey, I kind of like yoga and now you're teaching yoga and you're not in that corporate job anymore.
Right.
And it sounds like you're a lot more happier in the position that you're in.
Yes, most definitely. And something I have been thinking about for a little bit that I want to say is that whenever I got into yoga, I started seeing yoga within everything. But now I'm
Mm,
also realizing that it kind of doesn't matter what finds you. Like if art finds you, you will begin to see art within everything. When the Akashic records find you, you're going to be
mhm.
able to see that just everywhere. And that is very interesting to me. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
It's a very interesting concept. I'm gonna have to think on that one
Right?
too, because now that you brought that to my awareness, I'm sure it's even going to be amplified. Like, oh, now I'm seeing it everywhere.
Right.
Yes. And thank you everyone for the likes in the chat. I'm glad that everybody's enjoying. So with you saying that it is a spiritual practice and not just the exercise, I feel like a lot of times when people hear yoga, they're like, oh, it's stretching.
Yeah.
Like it's stretching my body. Could you tell us a little bit what the difference is between like the conceptualized, like, oh, it's exercise, and what the difference is like it being a spiritual practice, or what that means for you?
Yes, absolutely. So, I think I should start off by saying that the reason why a lot of people in the West believe yoga to be an exercise is really a result of like capitalism and white supremacy in America because they kind of saw this and was like, oh, that's cool. We can get, pretty people to do this exercise and make money off of it. And it really is a spiritual practice. Like the poses that you usually see us doing is a very new concept. It's really only been around since like the 70s.
Hmm.
Um, the way we see it today in America. So I feel like that's a very important thing that not a lot of people are aware of, which is like no fault to their own. It's just the society we live in. Um, oh, go on.
Oh no, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, yoga has always been a spiritual practice. It's a 5,000-year-old practice. One of the original yoga practices is actually meditating. So earlier when I said I was already doing yoga without realizing I was doing yoga is because I was meditating and I didn't know that that was a yogic practice at the time.
Hmm.
And yeah, yoga actually means union. Um, Union can be described as many things. The way I was taught is that it describes our highest self to the highest source. So it's that connection to source that is uniting when we do these practices.
I learned something new today. I did not
Yeah.
know that's what yoga, what that meant as far as like union, but that makes so much sense because anytime that I've done yoga, I really feel in tune with myself and in tune with source. Like it's almost like I drop down in my consciousness and I feel at peace.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Speaking of yoga practices, so Maisie told me that she has a commitment that she made to herself to do yoga every single day. And I was like, whoa, that's a big commitment. And that's beautiful. So I was wondering if you would like to talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So I took an oath probably in February of this year, and it was very emotional. I basically took an oath that I will do a yoga practice every single day, and I will offer that yoga practice up to the highest source, to God, whatever you want to call it. So, me doing yoga every day is like my offering to the universe.
I love that because you're also like raising the collective frequencies in doing that. Like you're sending out like those good vibrations and then you're healed every day and coming
Yeah.
from like a more peaceful, loving place because you did that practice. And so you're just helping like yourself and other people just by doing your own solo practice.
Yes, and the way
Yes.
my mentor told or taught us is that we set intentions for the practice,
Mhm.
and our intentions affect the collective consciousness of the universe, which includes us. So it's like everyone benefits from me practicing yoga.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Um, Also, with talking about your yoga spiritual practice, so you once told me that you follow the 8 limbs spiritual practice, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" I had never heard that term before, and I was wondering if you could describe that a little bit for everyone, because I'm sure there's some other people that might be curious.
Yes. So the eight-limbed practice, we also call it Ashtanga yoga, or we call it Raja yoga, which is it's all the same thing. Um, so we see the eight-limbed practice in, let me see if I have it up here. It's in a book. It's a spiritual book. Uh, So, similar to the Bible is an ancient religious book, we have books like the Yoga Sutras, which is an ancient spiritual text. It was written by Patanjali, which we don't really know who Patanjali was. There's a lot of like myths and legends that he was like a demigod. He was like half human and he had the lower half of a snake.
Okay.
But it's basically just little like excerpts. They almost look like notes. They're written in Sanskrit, but other teachers come and like do commentary on it. But it's basically just like a set of notes put together to describe what yoga really is. And they go over the 8 limbs of yoga, which I guess I can like list out what the limbs are, and then we can go deeper into that if you want.
I would love to hear what the 8 limbs are.
Okay,
So like
so
each one, if you're okay with chatting about it.
yes, of
Okay.
course. So we have concentration and meditation, which those kind of go hand in hand. So
Mhm.
concentration, meditation. We have pranayama, which is breath work. Asana, asana is originally translated as seat, which means just to sit with yourself. But over time, asana means posture, which is like the poses that you see us doing. Those are referred to as asanas. So, okay, concentration, meditation, pranayama, asanas, yamas and niyamas, which I can go over that. Um, sense restraint, and then samadhi, which I can go over that as well.
Okay.
So, let's see. I so concentration, meditation. Concentration is just practicing having your mind be one point focus, because when we are able to have our minds be one point focus, we are able to kind of detach from the mind. We understand that we are not the mind. So meditation, which I'm sure a lot of people are aware with that, what that is. Pranayama, just like working with the breath. Prana is really like our internal energy. It's our life force. So it doesn't always have to mean breath work, but a lot of times the breath is like the easiest way to access our prana. So asana, which I said was like the physical yoga poses, those help to relieve like suffering in the body. So if you have like shoulder pain or like neck pain or hip pain, the asana practice is really great just to alleviate any suffering in your body. And when we can alleviate suffering within our body, we're able to experience like enlightenment more easily. Let's see. Sense restraint. So sense restraint basically just means controlling your 5 senses. So, we have our 5 senses. A lot of times we let our senses make decisions for us.
Mhm.
So, like an example of this would be if you smell food, but you just ate, but you're like, oh, but it smells good. Like I could go eat it. And it's like, no, but I just ate. But it's like, no, like it smells good. So I'm going to go eat it anyways. That would be like your senses making decisions for you. And then the yamas and niyamas. The yamas is how we treat our environment and how we treat the world.
Mm.
That would include just like truthfulness and kindness and, you know, all the good things that other people want to experience as well. And then the niyamas would be just like taking care of yourself. So just like they talk about just like good hygiene, and then also like talking to yourself with kindness and excuse me, my voice is a little
I get like that too when I'm talking a lot. I know I made you talk a lot too.
So yeah, just like treating yourself with kindness, and this also goes back to like that self-love. So that is also a yoga practice. And then the last limb would be samadhi, which like some people describe this as being like the final step in yoga, but it's like even if you get to the final step, it's like the work isn't done. So samadhi basically just means that you fully integrate and understand that there is no separation between you and everything that is. There's no separation between you and source. You are one in every single aspect. So yeah, it's just understanding that we are all one. We are all, we are all connected.
I absolutely love that. Thank you for explaining, because that also was very reflective for me of like, am I getting into all of those different areas? Like I need to look at all those. And have you ever heard, now my voice is doing it. So, do you know what the wheel of life is?
I'm not sure.
So the Wheel of Life is a psychology tool, and basically it's like a pie chart, and it has like career, finances, relationships, like children. It has like all the different areas of your life, and it's like, and I tell people when they're trying to do like an overhaul or they're trying to balance everything, to just take one at a time and do a reassessment and work on those. And the 8 limbs kind of sounds like that. Like it hits all the different areas in your life as far as like self and how you interact with other people. And so I love that, because it's a good balance of everything.
That's amazing, because in the Yoga Sutras, which this is kind of like equivalent to the Bible for yogis, like this is what yogis refer to, yeah. But in there it says if you ever have like a spiritual teacher or a priest or someone in the spiritual field that tries to tell you to do something and you aren't sure if you should be doing it, you can look in any religious text, any spiritual text, you can look in any psychology format to see if you should be doing this, because it all holds the same answers in it.
I love that. And so that makes sense why my brain was going back to the Wheel of Life, like as you were talking, because it's basically the same thing, like just making sure that you have a balance between all and that you're taking care of yourself, like we talked about before.
Right. That's
yes.
very cool.
Yes. Thank you for explaining that. And I'm going to have that ever present in my mind too, all the things you were saying, like, am I doing all this? So another thing I want to talk about is your artistry. And you told me that, you know, creative expression is so very healing for not only yourself, it can help heal other people if you make art and create it and share it with others. So I was going to ask what your journey is as far as you being an artist and creating.
Yes. So whenever I quit my job, I was like, I'm gonna do art full time. But at the time, I was making art that didn't really like resonate with me. I was making art for the purpose of like, I need to sell this to make money so I can pay my bills. And it just like, it honestly took all the fun away from it. It like, I really wasn't enjoying it. It was very stressful. I was like, I don't like doing this. Like, art should be fun. I should like to do this. Like, I should want to do this. It shouldn't feel like stressful. And yeah, I kind of just had another like awakening experience that I was like, wow, we really just all are creators. Which is like beautiful because like we come from a creator, and in return we're all creators ourselves, which
Mm-hmm.
again is like Samadhi. There's really no separation between all of us and, you know, the highest. So yeah, I was like, one day I was like, you know what, I feel kind of frustrated. I really just want to go outside and throw some paint on a canvas. And I did that, and I was like, holy shit, I want to do this forever. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much from painting in a way that like that I didn't expect. It has taught me how to let go. It teaches me how to always come back to like that state of surrender. And it helps you come back to like that childlike essence that we all carry. And you know, I'm not religious or anything like that, but I like to go back to this part in the Bible just about we have to become children again in order to like get into the kingdom of heaven, which like we can think of heaven as like a state of mind or like enlightenment in a sense. So it's like just holding space to come back to like that child like, you know, creativity.
I love that. I feel that sometimes because we live in sometimes capitalistic societies that it says something is not worth it if you're not making money. If you're not making money doing something, that you don't need to be doing it, you need to do something else. And it kind of sounds like you got kind of a little wrapped up in that cycle, and I have too, with
Mm-hmm.
different things. And when you were saying as far as getting into that like childlike state, I have really noticed that to tap into my magic, and when I'm like in flow with source and in life and everything's a little bit easier and everything's, you know, working out in my favor, is when I'm letting go and having fun with life and what I'm doing. And when I'm stressed and like constraining, it's not as fun and magical. And so it sounds like that's for you with art. That's how you get into your flow state and more in flow with life itself and flow with yourself.
Yes, absolutely. That was beautiful. And it's such a paradox because it's like when I realize that all I have to do is let go, I like my art so much better than I have ever liked it ever in my life. And it's like, it's just crazy how that works. It's like all you got to do is let go. And my mentor, this also comes back to yoga, which is because my mentor told me that all yoga asks of us is to let go. That's all you have to do is let go.
That is beautiful. Like just
Yeah.
yoga as a whole, just let go.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's all you have
Every
to do.
every time I've done yoga, it's that release of just
Hmm.
like I'm surrendering. I need to do
Yes.
yoga more, basically. Diana said, show up for the adventure every day. I love that. I love that
Yes.
perspective too. Like if you wake up and say, what adventure is coming for me today? Like I'm going to start doing that. Thank you, Diana. That's a much more fun way to start your day. um, what do you have a favorite type of art that you like to do?
I like to paint usually. Um, I use acrylic paints just because they're the easiest to work with because I really just use like acrylic and water and you can play with like different textures. So it's like if you add enough water to acrylic, it's gonna be kind of like a watercolor.
Mhm.
So I've learned all this just by like experimenting and practicing. It's like I really didn't know any of this before I started doing it, but yeah, once again, it has taught me a lot as I continue to do it. So yeah, I usually paint on canvas,
Mhm. I love
but
that. That's gonna be my next question. Are you self-taught?
for the most part, I went to a year of college. I went for art education, which like I
Mhm.
learned a few things here and there, but essentially I just ended up leaving because I didn't feel like that was, you know, where it was at.
Yeah. I love that you have a creative, expressive soul. I know we all
Oh.
do, but you have a very much, I'm not going to be constrained, like either by school or by, you know, like jobs, like I'm going to fly free. And
Oh,
so
yes.
I love that about you.
Yes.
Because I have
And
a
it
very similar style.
I love that. I think it's funny because I'm not usually like the talking type of person. I don't feel like I always need to express myself through words. Um, but it's funny because it's like I pick up all these little things on the side because it's like I got to express myself somehow. If it's not through
Mhm.
words,
You're
I
really a vibey person, Maisie. Like it
oh,
isn't like
thank
you
you.
say you don't have to be all words. Sometimes you're just like enjoying the vibes.
Yes.
Um, so Maisie has a class that's coming up, an intuitive art class in January. I'm super excited to do it because I need to tap into my creativity a little more too. And Maisie is an excellent teacher and guide. And so I was wondering if you could talk about your class a little bit more and why you decided to do that and what it is and how people can find it.
Yes. So I this I've been wanting to do this class for a while, but I feel like I've had some like limiting beliefs in the past that it's like, oh, well, I don't have a degree, so it's like, should I really be teaching people? But it's like, yes, I feel like I'm qualified enough to teach people. And something else my mentor told me that will always stick with me is that you can only take students as far as you've gone yourself. So it's
Mm.
like I'm really just taking you, like people who come to my classes, I'm really just taking them as far as I've gone myself. So yeah, that is something I have learned. But I've been wanting to do this class for a while. I've just been putting it off. But this is kind of like my introduction into trying to combine yoga with creative expression. So it's kind of like an experiment. I'm just kind of seeing how it will go. And I'm really just there to like hold space for all of us to let go and to create and just to have fun, come back to like that child mentality. And yes, where can you find this class at? It is anywhere you can find me, you'll find my website link, and it'll be the first link you see will be where you can register for the class. It's free. All you have to do is like pay for your own supplies,
Mhm.
which supplies are like very flexible as well. Like you don't necessarily have to paint. I will be painting, but again, it's like you really don't have to. There's really no right or wrong way to express yourself creatively. So yeah, I'm just there to hold space for all of us to create, come back to that childlike essence. And I'm very excited.
I'm excited as well. And something interesting that you told me too that kind of like blew open my awareness is when we were having a conversation initially about it, you said, you don't have to use paintbrushes. You could use, you said like a fork to paint with,
Yeah.
or like tissue paper, or, just an assortment of things. And I was like, I have literally never thought about using something other than a paintbrush. And that's why you're a beautiful guide and teacher, because you help people think like outside of the box and like it doesn't have to be this constructual thing.
Yeah, and I think that's very similar to just coming back to that child within all of us. It's like because children are so like curious, like they would be the ones to be like, like I wonder what this fork would look like if I dipped it in some paint and like
Mm-hmm.
scraped it across this. So it's like just allowing ourselves to get curious, to come back to that state and yeah, make some art.
I love it. And another one you said was leaves. I think I'm going to paint
Yeah.
with leaves. I
Yeah,
think that would be fun. I'm going to gather some for the class.
yes. In the class, I thought about just like being like, okay, like we're gonna take a 5 to 10 minute break, and your goal is to like look for like 5 objects in your house
Yeah,
that you can use to create art with.
I think that's great. That would be so much fun. It's like a scavenger hunt and
Yeah,
like deciding what to do something different. Like that's so much fun. What day are you doing it and what time for everyone who might be interested?
it is January 22nd, 2022 from 12 to 2 p.m. It's on a Saturday and a lot of
Mhm.
synchronicities. So, oh, and it's 10:44 right now. So,
Hey.
yes.
And that's Eastern Standard Time, is that right? 12 to 2
Yes.
Eastern?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. On January 22nd, 2022. Yes, love the
Yes.
things. Yes. Okay, Maisie, thank you for sharing about your class. I know there's a lot of people who are very excited about that. Diana said, we are meant to meet, loving this. Diana, you're the best hype woman. Like, she always comes in the chat. And she's just,
She is.
you're so sweet, Diana. Thank you. Um, so, forking off. I was talking about forks, about about teaching and artistry and the yoga. So I wanted to kind of talk about when the student becomes the teacher. Because at one point, you know, you were learning yoga and now you're teaching yoga, or you're learning how to be creative and now you're teaching creation, right? Or holding space for creation. So what has that looked like as far as fear, imposter syndrome, the anxiety, and getting over that hump as far as like, oh, I can do this and help people?
Yes, definitely. So I kind of said this earlier, but I'll say it again just because I love this so much, and it's something I find myself like repeating back to myself a lot. And that's what my mentor told me, is that like you can only take people as far as you've gone yourself. So yeah, a lot of times it's like I don't know if I should be teaching this, and it's like, but I'm really only teaching things that I have done consistently over time. So it's like I'm only teaching people what I have gone through and what I do. It's like I'm not teaching anything that I don't know anything about, because it's like, how would I teach that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yes. And I'm sorry, can you repeat one of the questions?
Oh, it was how do you overcome the fear and like the imposter syndrome and like the anxiety of saying like, okay, now I'm ready. But I think you answered that and saying like,
Oh,
I'm just teaching what I know.
yeah. And something else that I've learned from the spiritual path is that we really all are teachers in a sense, and we're all students. So it's like we all have a guru within us, and everything in life is the guru. So it's like, again, just coming back to, I'm only showing you what I have gone through myself. But as far as like being the teacher and the student, I believe that we all are the teacher and the student. It's like sometimes I take the role as the student and I sit there and I listen, and sometimes I share back this information that I've learned and that I know. And a lot of times people are teachers without even realizing they're the teacher.
Mhm.
And I think some of the greatest teachers in our life are honestly kids. I think Marley, which is my daughter, she has taught me so much. And that just kind of comes back to we all are the teachers.
I love that. I love that you said we're all the student, we're all the teacher, we're all the guru. The moment is the guru, experience is the guru. It's all,
Yes.
you know, intertwines. Experience is the teacher. That is something that I have really learned on my journey, that you can have all the degrees in the world and all of these things, but experience is really, like Diana's saying, is the best teacher. And I think a lot of people get caught up on like, oh, I don't know enough, or oh, I don't have this degree. But there will always be people that are going through what you went through, and the universe will align you with those people to help them get to where you are right now. I have
Yes.
found that like there's always people that, not judgment like couple steps back, but couple steps back, and you can like hold their hand and say, this is what I did to get here, and that you'll be in alignment with and go kind of on that same similar path or journey.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel, or excuse me, I lost my train of thought. um, wow. Do you have
It's
anything
okay.
else to say?
I was going to read Andrea's. She said, thank you both. I enjoy you both very much. Thank you, Andrea. We love you too. Um, and so I was the next thing that I want to talk about is learning is a lifelong process. And I think that you encapsulated that when you said we're all the student and the teacher. Like there's never a point where you stop learning. Like that's just part of the human experience. Like you can always learn new things and apply them to life and apply them to yourself.
Yes, and humans are so special in that we have the ability to learn literally from the moment we are born till we leave this earth. And not a lot of other beings in this world that we live in can really do that. There's kind of a limit to some things. Not to say like uh I'll use animals as an example. Like not to say like they're stupid or anything. It's just like they don't have like the tools that we have. Like some of them don't have like the hands to be able to write or have the ability to speak words and to learn other languages like we can. So it's like humans are very special in that we can literally learn until we're not here anymore.
I love that. Yes, like it's just a continual process. And that's the
Yes.
beautiful thing too. Like if you're a type of person that loves helping others, I find that those people have a commitment to knowledge and wisdom. Like they're always trying to update their software, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And you're just like, how can I, explain these things better? How can, like, you're always looking for more resources. Do you feel like that way with your yoga practice even? Like, I always want to keep researching and learning how to do things better and like telling people how to do things better. Or not
Yeah,
do things better, but
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So before I was teaching yoga, I was going to school for education. So there was like already a part of me that was very like interested in learning. And I think having a passion for learning makes you a good student and also makes you like a good teacher because you're learning so much information and then you're taking people as far as you've gone yourself. And it just kind of comes all back full circle like that.
I have found that a lot of people get stuck, or even myself at one point, as if I'm not going to a traditional school, that I can't learn what I need to
Yeah.
learn, if that makes sense. And sometimes you do, like if you're a doctor or you have like specific things that you need to go to school for. But there are so many resources now where you can learn pretty much how to do anything or about anything. Um, Even when I was going to school for psychology, I feel like I got so much more out of just life experiences and talking to people and being in jobs that revolved around psychology than actually the school portion of it.
Yeah, and I that's definitely just an example of, like capitalism and like programming us to thinking that we need these things, which is like the only thing we ever truly need is ourselves. If we have ourselves, and we have so many resources nowadays that's like truly all we need is ourselves and like a curious mind. And a lot of times the answers will kind of come to us. It's like similar to when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
And baby steps, baby steps. I think
Hmm.
sometimes when somebody, or even me in the past, wants to learn something that's a lot, and just a lot of moving parts to it, it's very overwhelming. And it's
Yeah.
like, how am I ever going to get to that place in my life? And you just have to take baby steps and like watch some YouTube videos and see where it takes you, or read some articles. And like, I feel like a lot of time your spirit, your soul will show you where you need to go. It will point you in the direction. It's just like, I just need you to start and I'll tell you how to get there, like your internal compass.
Oh wow, absolutely. That was beautiful. Um, whenever I started like my yoga teacher training, I felt very like behind everyone because I haven't really been doing yoga technically for that long compared to like there's some students who have been doing it for years and maybe have like no intention of like teaching it, but they look very advanced like in the poses and stuff. And I felt like I just wasn't there. But it's like you just learn what you can during the day and you learn when it's accessible to you. And then it's like over time, it's like, oh wow, I actually have learned a lot in like a year that I did not even expect to learn. And it's just like those baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this analogy of just like climbing up a ladder. It's like you can't really climb like three steps at a time. You have to do one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you try to
Yes,
climb several steps at a time,
you're gonna fall.
yeah, you just gotta do one step at a time. Do you have any advice for anyone who may be wanting to get into yoga or even teaching yoga or just doing yoga for their own spiritual practice that's starting from like ground zero?
Um, I always say just like be easy with yourself. I think, especially like yoga in America and in the West, it can look very intense. because you see people like doing handstands and like doing the
Mhm.
splits. And I just want to say, like, if someone can do the splits, that does not mean that they are an advanced yogi. That just means they can do the splits. So, like, for real, if you see a yogi like sitting in meditation for like 3 hours, that's an advanced yogi. Like, that is because that is very hard. So, I would say, like, don't let this modernized yoga practice like discourage you from starting a yoga practice, because it can be a little intimidating. But that is not all that yoga is. Yoga could also look like starting a pranayama practice and just like working with the breath and practicing different breathing techniques. Like that would also be a yoga practice.
I love that because I had when I first started trying to do yoga, I was very intimidated because I was like, I can't do like all of the things that they're trying to do on there. And so I started doing just like regular exercise stretching, and I was like, oh, this could be applicable to yoga. Like I don't have to be on the super advanced, like you said, doing the splits. And it's again back to like the baby steps, like do what's good for you.
Yes.
And we're not comparing ourselves to other people. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I lost what I was gonna say
it's okay.
again.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with everyone about anything that you have going on right now? Maisie makes awesome TikToks. She really does. Every time that I get on TikTok, you come up on my For You page all the time. Like I just open it, especially
I
through
love
binge.
that.
And so you make beautiful ones and you share just very reflective things, things to make you go in internally and find your inner peace. I love the sound bowls that you use. Those are always very enjoyable. And you always have like nuggets of wisdom to share with people.
You know, I try, and I want to show people what yoga actually is, because yoga, it comes from the East and it was brought over to the West, but it's kind of have begun to lose some of its meaning because people mistake it as being just like the poses that you see. So yeah, sometimes I'll get on there and like repeat a chant back or like a mantra, and I'll be like, that's like you're doing yoga right now. Like it's okay.
Mhm.
Just to like reiterate that the yoga journey can look very different to many people, and there's really no right or wrong way to do it. And at the end of the day, it's all about just like connecting to the highest parts of yourself. So trying to make it like not intimidating, and um teach this very important truth that yoga is absolutely for everyone.
You
And
do
yeah,
create a very like welcoming, accessible space. Like when I see your yoga videos, I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like, and you break it down and you explain it so well that so it's not just like a pedestalizing thing. Like, oh, she's this huge yoga teacher that's doing all these things. It's like we're all people.
yeah.
And we're all learning together and growing together. And let me show you how you can break this down to where it's, for you too. And so I just love that about all of your videos.
Oh, thank you. I had been getting kind of a pull to get on TikTok for a while, like
Hmm.
maybe half a year. I was like, kept hearing, I was like, you should start making TikToks. Like, you should get on TikTok. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, that's intimidating. And then I started making them, and honestly, I have grown on TikTok more in 2 weeks than I have like
Hmm.
a year on any other platform. So I feel very grateful that things are going well on there.
Oh, beautiful. Diana said she's going to go check your videos out.
Yay. Thank you.
Yes, yoga with Maisie on TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yes. TikTok it's a whole different ball game. I love TikTok though. I'm a big proponent because I feel like it's a space where a lot of people are authentically themselves. Like it's very raw and people are
Yes.
very vulnerable and they show that vulnerability in themselves. And I think TikTok's a great place for healers. I see tons of healers on there and just doing their thing and prospering, thriving on there, and it's just beautiful to see like yourself. And it's really healing too because you're putting yourself out there if you're somebody that's dealt with like anxiety or worrying about other people's perceptions. And doing that is just really healing. I don't know if you've had that same experience.
Yes, everyone on TikTok has just been like so kind and like
Mhm.
welcoming and loving, which I think also comes back to is like we attract what we are. So it's just like it's very rewarding, and I just yeah, I feel very grateful to be on there and just to have received like the love and the support that I have. Like,
Yes. And maybe soon you'll be
feeling
doing TikTok
emotional.
live yoga classes. That'll be fun.
I'm I'm a few followers away from being able to do
Hey,
lives. So that
that's so
is something I've
exciting.
considered. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. I know a lot of people would love that. And you have such like a bubbly, like fun personality. I know you'd have a lot of people in there.
Oh,
Yes. Diana said I need to learn how to use TikTok. It overwhelms me. Diana, Maisie and I will help you. I am here to support, and I know Maisie probably will too.
yes. I felt the same way. I'm like
Mhm.
I'm, young, quote unquote, but it's like I'm not hip with technology or anything like that. I have to Google a lot when it comes to social media and technology and how to use things. But if I can do it, I think anyone can do it.
It's a lot. It's a lot to do. And if you're not someone who's super tech savvy, like me or you, if we're not tech savvy, but once you know it, and then we can help others with it too. Um, okay, Maisie, where can everybody find you? All of the things that you have going on right now.
So I am Yoga with Maisie on all platforms, and anywhere you can find me, you can find my website link. And when you go to that link, it will be my yoga classes. I have a monthly guided meditation that I'm going to be starting at the beginning of next year. It'll be on the 11th of every month. And I also have weekly yoga classes every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which you can also use that link to sign up. And when you use that link to sign up, you also get a whole bunch of free classes from me. And I do teach Ashtanga yoga. I was teaching Hatha yoga for a while, but I recently switched it because that was just what was resonating with me more. So that is something new I'm doing as well, is that I no longer teach Hatha yoga. I switched to Ashtanga yoga.
I love it. And I highly recommend your guided meditations. I
Oh,
was
thank
in
you.
one a couple weeks ago, and you just created such a loving space for everyone to heal. And it was like we were all connected and together, and you're a beautiful guide. And so anybody that is wanting to like tune in, tap in, I definitely recommend going to Maisie's meditations.
I have I have it planned out to where I want to do like monthly meditations, like I said, and I'm gonna have like a Dharma talk, which is just like sharing some words of wisdom, and then the meditation is going to be related to the Dharma talk that we had.
That
So
sounds great.
next month it'll be bringing in the new. So that would be my Dharma talk, and then our meditation will be in relation to that.
Do you feel like you're bringing in the new because your birthday is also in January and it's the new year?
Yes, I
I'm
felt
just
like it
starting fresh.
was, yes, I felt like it was very fitting to just like everything going on.
Yes. And then your art class is the link in your link tree in your website.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and that is the first link you'll see is when you click on that, that'll be the first thing that pops up is my art class.
Yes. Everybody should come. I'm going to be there. Some other people we know too. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out. It's definitely like no pressure. We're all just chilling, hanging out. We're all equals. There's no like hierarchy here. We're just hanging out, making some art, letting go, all the good things.
Yes. Okay, Macy, thank you so much for joining me today. This is so much fun. I learned
Yes.
so many things. So many things. And I know a lot of other people did too. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and you're such like a kind energy, a kind spirit. Your heart shines through you. So I'm very
Oh, thank
grateful.
you.
I feel very grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who watched and enjoyed in the chat and was saying all the wonderful, kind things. We appreciate you too. And for everyone who will be watching this in the future. So I hope everyone has a magical day. And my best wishes, many blessings to everybody. And Maisie, I will talk to you later.
All right, sounds good. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.